Hello everyone, my name is Jemiah Evans Smirnoff. I go by Maya. I am doing my integrated timeline with Joshua Wortham's timeline. I chose Josh because I felt like we had a connection when it came to our families, sports and athletics, arts, and education, I would say. So that is why I chose uh, Josh. So in the first year, I was born in 1996, and then 2 years later, I have Josh was born in 1998. The reason why I put the years that we were born because, as you can see, 4 years later of both of us being born, our siblings were born. So 4 years after I was born, my brother was born. 4 years after he was born, his sister was born. And why this is important because he talked about how um, he was really close with his sister and how he would always go to her softball games and be there for support. And I feel like um, I can relate with that because I also was really close with my brother and I would also try to go to all of his basketball games. And I always felt like when you're an older sibling, you have a responsibility of, I would say, protection and just being there for your sibling. And so um, that's why I put the years that we were born and the years that our siblings were born. During that year, also, Josh had began wrestling. I put that on there because I too was a wrestler throughout my middle school and high school years. So he started in kindergarten, but I started in sixth grade. So I'll go into that a little more later. 2007, I put fourth grade strings, and then for his 2007, he has orchestra and the cello. So reason why I put that is because we both pursued during 2007 an instrument. I was going on the path of playing the viola, and he was playing the cello. Unfortunately for me, I didn't continue playing the viola because I couldn't technically afford to buy my own viola at the time, and so I quit. I said that I would tell people that I didn't want to miss recess, so that is the reason why I quit. Also, that was a reason too. I didn't want to miss my recess. I loved recess actually, and um, our strings time would have been our second recess, and I didn't want to miss it. And for Josh, he actually continued to do his cello career throughout 2007 all the way through high school. And so for him, I would say um, um, our our similarities there would just be, starting an instrument at that time. Um, what I also put here for the next year was 2010, and that's when I began wrestling. And so he's already still doing wrestling during this time. Why I put that on there as important because he was doing an art, which was orchestra, and he was also doing athletics, a sport, which was wrestling. And for me, I was doing the same. I was doing wrestling and track, and I was also pursuing arts in vocal and in theater. And so he mentioned during his time um, being in orchestra, he was all state for 4 years. And I too, for my vocal class, for the 2 years that I was in Cordeliers, we won state um, 2 years in a row for that. And so that was our similarities, I would say there. The reason why I put that because I know how being in these things in high school and in middle school and throughout your life growing up, it really has an effect on you when you're like an adult or going into college um, because during this time he mentioned how he was so in tune with the arts that he almost pursued doing music for his major in college. And I too, when I was going into college, was thinking about pursuing arts theater. I took theater classes when I was going into college. And so that's why I put arts and athletic because it really kind of it was in our minds that we wanted to pursue arts as while we were going into college. So that's why I put that for our a likeness on here. The next thing I have, 2015, that was the year that I graduated. And a year later, 2016, that was the year he graduated. So the years apart are different, but what I wanted to talk about here was the year that I graduated, I was a first generation college student. And the year that he graduated, he talked about how it was his first time for freedom and independence. And so for me, it was just like a new environment, an eye opener to different ideas and people and the things that were going on. I had no clue what college was going to be about, what I needed, and stuff like that. So for me, it was more of a um, all new thing. And I'm sure it was really new for him considering it was his first time at freedom, first time in independence. And so that's why I wanted to put that down. And also, both of us talking about how we both wanted to pursue arts during that time. Um, he was wanting to be a music major, and I wanted to do theater. So for uh, our college years, that was kind of our similarities and how that while we were in high school and middle school and elementary, how those sports and those arts that we did, how it impacted us as we got older. The next year I have 2019. I put that because that was the year um, that I graduated, and um, and then 2020 was the year that he graduated. So why I put this as a similarity is because, and um, in 2019 fall is when I graduated, but we weren't. Our school wasn't big enough to have a graduation during the fall, so I would have to wait for graduation in 2020. And then that was the year that he graduated and he would have his graduation. Unfortunately, COVID happened, so I didn't technically have a actual graduation where I got to go to the school. And I'm not for sure if that was the same with Josh, but I would assume that he would have a virtual graduation. So I would say virtual graduation was our similarity and having to deal with the COVID. And so um, being a 2020 graduate, I feel like it's a really impactful time because it was a time where you didn't really experience that, I would say, that walking across the stage experience. So that's why I put that for our uh, timeline for graduation years. Um, yeah, also, fun fact, the school that Josh had graduated from, Nebraska University, Lincoln, I think yeah, Nebraska. I wrestled on the same team with the guy who goes there, and he's on the wrestling team at Nebraska. So I don't know if Josh knows him or not, but yeah. So I just felt like for Josh and I, we had a likeness with our family, of course, with our brother and our sister, and with our athletic and arts. We both were pursuing those, and it both had a big toll on us when we were in college. And also graduation time and experience COVID. I feel like being a 2020 graduate is a kind of new thing. It's a time where we didn't really have a graduation moment, that big moment of graduating college. But also now this year we are both graduate students at NMSU, and so that is why I picked Josh, because I feel like we had things that were very similar. So thanks, guys. Hope you guys liked the video.